Yeah, all this is an Oasis and this is more Brotato, Abyssal Terror, DLC, whatever, you know. I didn't call the last part that, but yeah. This is actually tier 3, which is actually combat. Tier 2, the tier 2 videos should have been called skilled and stuff like that, you know. I'm pretty certain these are the tier 3 videos and stuff like that, but yeah. Yeah, we did have a really, really unlucky build before. Oh man, can we take that? Yes, we can. I'll take that though. Damn it, why do you have to show up with a purple one? God damn it, piece of honk. I mean, I would love that. Right, so that gets 10% of that. So that means that the purple torch, for example, has 90% scaling with that. There's another elemental weapon though that we can get instead. Just padding. Yes, Anarki. Yes, lock those. Right, so this is an elemental weapon, as you can see. It only scales via elemental damage there, as you can see, but yeah. So the Frozen Knot is so good because it's not only that it's plus elemental damage, and it gives you crit chance, and then you scale also with more black elemental damage and stuff like that. And all weapons gain black elemental damage scaling, but that doesn't mean that one game you could use any weapon or whatever and make it work, you know. That also means that weapons that already scale a lot with elemental damage will scale even more with elemental damage and stuff like that, yeah. This also becomes even better, for example, if you get what is it, the nail thing, because then you can start scaling with engineering. And then if you get the lighthouse without having a single structure, then the lighthouse is absolutely insane. Because then, for example, that you can use scale a bunch of damage with that, you know, and stuff like that, yeah. It's not curse that, but curse is 44. Pretty decent, even though we don't have a single cursed weapon yet. Yeah, we are a pretty speed boy. That's good. No, don't spawn a medical turret. That's 7% more damage. I think that's worth it at this point. More lifesteal. Attack speed. And there's a cursed fin. Yes. 5 material, yeah, oh, that's so nice. Because that's unique, right? Isn't padding unique? Yes, padding is unique. We can combine the 2 torches here. Like, normally I don't want to have 2 other torches. Let's take the clover there. Lock that. On Mando. Harvesting though, that could be really good if it gets cursed. Because we do have two fish hooks. The fish hooks aren't cursed though, so you know. So instead, because here's the thing about a lot of people say, oh, it's at 40% now, but that's actually not true. Because from my understanding, the reason why, for example, like let's say you have 3 cursed fish hooks, and they might think that oh, then you have a 100% chance to curse something, but that's untrue, because it goes for the single value here. For example, like it's 20% on both the fish hooks. That means that it checks 20%. So let's say you roll a dice, you have 20% chance on the dice to succeed or whatever, right? So it's like, what would it be 20% on the dice? That would be like rolling a 1 to 2 right out of 6. I mean, it would need to be more than a 6 on the die, right? You know, but you get what I mean, right? Oh, we're killing you. Yes, we are actually. We are killing you. Eller fall easily. Just run around you in a circle, and then as long as we're close enough to you, you're not bad. Point. You know. You're a speed boy. You're a speedy sick boy. They pumped him too much. They pumped him too much full with the drugs. Dr. Fauci was like, haha, we are killing you now. Whatever, you know. I think that these aliens are much more like cute or whatever. Cute. Right, because it's basically like that's the whole thing in Brotato, that you're fighting aliens for whatever reason. I don't know what aliens have against potatoes, you know, and stuff that, you know. Maybe the aliens are actually supposed to be something else, right? And the potato guy is an actual, you know, like a Irish person. I mean, it might just as well also be, you know, like an Eastern European. 79% damage, 30% attack speed, 20 plus range. Okay, so you gain -1 armor at the end of each thing, but it's just that that is used so much. And the fucking 170 plus range, that's like, okay. So that means that they are melee weapons. Okay, 271 range is not insane. 296 is pretty insane though, because 150 value is the default here. So let's get that. Let's get that. Let's not have that locked anymore. There's a good thing though. But we don't have that much luck. 1% left to have a permanent 10 like you have, so yeah. I could get another torch there, but nah. Another taste though. I would like that. No. The fact that we haven't seen a single fucking flamethrower yet is something I really wanted to have this be a flamethrower run, so we're gonna go into endless. You know, sometimes I go into endless, right? Because, you know, sometimes I, on my own, yeah, if I really want to unlock stuff like quickly, you know, and stuff like that, then I don't go into endless. But sometimes, right, if you don't even get the build to be what you want yet and stuff like that, and sure, you know, you might say, oh, but, oh, you have like the... For example, there was a build that I did once, and I forgot if it was on the Gladiator or not, but I managed to get like a bunch of jellies right away, and it was on the Gladiator actually. I did manage to get 4 jellies really early on, and as it really is 1 max HP for every different weapon you have. And then, for example, on the Gladiator, I was really stubborn with what weapons I wanted. So I started with the Cacti Club, and then I really wanted a Thief Dagger. Sure, I got those 2, but then the Medieval Sword took a really long time to show up. Right, so I had 2 weapons for like a really long time, because I thought, for example, on the Gladiator that, oh, you would receive negative attack speed if you had more of the same weapon, but you don't. So, for example, you should actually increase the amount of Cacti Clubs and Thief Dagger you have until you find the weapons that you actually want and stuff like that, you know. There's another baby Elefante. 21% damage, another attack speed though. 21% damage. There's a Cursed Acer. There's the Krakens. It's actually scaled with Curse damage. And that used Curse as well. This 6 HP recovered from consumables, 4 plus HP and consumables hit for over 4 seconds instead of instantly. You finally decide to show up. Yeah, attacks have a 25% chance to deal blah 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 burning damage and stuff. That's yeah. So we have a Cursed Laser. It's pretty good. But yeah. But of course the thing is, for example, we for example, like if we would go for one of each of the elemental quote-unquote weapons, then we would want to have 1 lightning shield, 1 torch, 1 taser, but we would need 1 fireball. We could go with the fireball fist as well, you know, like the taser is not guaranteed that I'm gonna stick with, but the thing that is good is that it slows enemies in the radius around the projectile. Stuff that's here. And you can see that is you scaling 150% with the elemental damage from the curse there. And that is pretty nice. It's a bit insane. I don't know if the volume is high enough, by the way, and stuff that, you know, so, you know. That is absolutely crazy. But keep in mind also that the game scales very quickly and stuff that. Once you get above a certain point, that you need to have a certain amount of armor, or you need to have like very high lifesteal. Stuff that you need to have like insane HP scaling from something, you know, and stuff that, you know, or, you know. You skin a bunch of HP when we picked up. Yeah, because of course the consumables, of course, if you have max health, you know. The main problem is that those, of course, having the max health doesn't happen very often. Because of the fact that, you know, that we're taking the damage every time. 6 luck. Yeah, let's get this cat sausage with that. Let's get that. There's another torch though. This is not blue. That's another torch. Yes. And yes, probably. Sanity, no. No, we don't lock the fish, not yet. Go into Endless, of course. Now, of course, if we get the main problem is though is when you're at 6 weapons, like weapons seems to have like way more rarity to show up, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, doubling the like this was probably a pretty good idea, but not the best. Yeah. Because of course, I believe if you curse this, it used to have a higher chance to happening, spreading like the burning and stuff like that. So yeah. So speed is at a decent value, I feel like, you know, stuff like that, unless we get something that we can use, you know. Another thing is, of course, there are good stats that you can quote-unquote exchange if you have high enough of them or whatever, you know. So lifesteal, our lifesteal isn't crazy, so lifesteal is only 45. Just keep in mind that otherwise the wave 20 would have been over very, very quickly, right? Because that's the main problem, right, when you're doing wave 20 normal, you just need to kill the bosses and then immediately the wave just ends and stuff like that, you know, and then the run is over, you know, stuff like that. So I kind of wish that they were shorter thing than Endless, that it would just be like, oh, we just go to Endless 30, just go to Endless 40 or whatever, right, and you could just set up like a goal or whatever, right, you know, and you wouldn't even need to clear it, right, but, you know, because I definitely think that, oh, like okay, Endless 30 should be a trophy, Endless 40 should be a trophy, you know, and stuff like that. Oh man, though. Now we finally get it. Then max HP at the end of the wave. One bounce. 15 luck. Minus 1 elemental damage. That's worth it. SP re. Armor. That. 5 plus knockback, 50% of more standing still, yes. Just the lightning shield though, that's cursed lightning shield. It's like one of the lightning shields. It is. You start with less HP. So 10% lifesteal. 10% damage for every 1% lifesteal you have. Does this stack? Does that make me take 2 damage per second? That's another taster though. Yeah, we want more of these because that's more lifesteal. It's going to be absolutely huge, the bloody hand. I don't know what the chances of that getting cursed is going to be. Yeah, that's a bit scary now. I want to kill you quickly, please. Yes, thank you. Because this is just going to be an absolute insane boost in lifesteal if we get that. Yeah, because the taste is actually really fucking good. But the good thing about the cursed taste... Oh right, we could combine those two. We could combine those two actually instead of that, but yeah. Okay, that already has 2 bounces, even though it's just regular. Like maybe Taster is just the build to go. I don't know, man. Maybe because it just seems that the thing with the Taster though is that it's scaling with elemental damage is actually very, very high. Stuff that, you know. Yeah, sure, this is one not 10% for example, but it's just, you know. But the thing is, yes, the Taster slows enemies as well. Makes it pretty decent. The thing that I'm worried about though is that it's gonna tick really quickly if we get the Bloody Hand. Of course, if we caught and got cursed the Bloody Hand, then the Bloody Hand effect actually is less. Or whatever, like it's hard to explain exactly. More lifesteal. No. That we take though. More attack speed. That did not curse. We take it anyway. So now we have 61% lifesteal. And then we have 2% damage for every lifesteal. So now we have 191% damage. And can we see damage we take? So our burning speed is 80% slower. Let's just take the snake here, even though it's minus 1 HP. Group bomb, we lock that. That's not in melee damage though. So we combine the 2 purple tasers, boom. And then we have a red curse taser. Man, that only has 111% now of the thing that was not very good. But that has 163.4 damage times 4. Pretty insane. That counts as range damage, of course. So lifesteal is 61%. So basically, it's that you need to reach 100% lifesteal before you can even be hopeful to reach that. Because you can have a maximum of like 10 HP per second and stuff like that. But I feel like you need to have like high enough lifesteal for that to actually happen and stuff like that. And also, yeah. Because the more enemies you have, the more you can lifesteal. Of course, having like a lot of enemies is actually highly beneficial and stuff like that if we can get. But there is something that is better out there, I believe, than the Gentle Alien in terms of giving you more enemies. There's a certain item, I believe, that is like 10% more enemies, I think it is. It's absolutely insane. And yes, we want to get more economy items and stuff that, It's another chest. Because there is a thing, right, that doubles the chance of for us to get chest. Giant ring, just take that. Toxic sludge, just take that. 1 plus luck. Yes, 10% minus item price. Plus elemental damage. Oh man, another grenade also shows up again. That doesn't naturally have elemental damage though. I think consumables heal us for 7 and materials heal us for 8. Keep in mind, of course, if something touches us, we do take a shit ton of damage here and stuff like that, still. I mean, target gaze would still not be completely worthless, right? Because the thing, it's not like 1 per second that would take 1 damage per second, right? Because it feels like the interval is actually longer than that. It feels like kinda, And here's the thing, right? The fact that you can get infinite amounts of the leaf, for example, makes it really good. Ooh, yeah, XP gain. Oh man, that's so good as all. That's insane. Yes, 50% pickup range, 13% damage after picking up a consumable. That also stacks very, very well with if you have like a shit ton of gardens. So for example, if you happen to quote-unquote curse a garden, then it becomes absolutely insane. But yeah, the fact that we haven't even seen the flamethrower yet is a bit, you know. But then we have 2 red ones now, so 115, 111%. Stuff that. So we have 2 of the shivs, we have 2 of these. And stuff that's, yeah. The shiv is actually bad because it's only +1 curse. The shiv, so yeah, you know. And of course we would need to get rid of the torch and the other shiv as well because they're not cursed. Here's the leaf, of course, by the way. I forgot how rare the leaf is or whatever, right? But yeah. Of course, if we would, for example, happen to gain an insane amount of luck, for example, because maybe the panda would show up, something like that, you know. And if the panda would show up, I would definitely want a quote-unquote cursed panda. If we haven't gotten it already, I don't think we have. We haven't seen Giant's Belt yet, though. I don't think I have it unlocked yet, though. Yes. Tears either. Yeah, big arms. So yeah, both of those are red. That's blue. Those are red as well. So yeah. I need to pay attention here because we can actually take very, very high damage here. Because the last thing we want to do now is die, actually. Those bosses did actually a lot of damage to us. And of course, there are some weapons that can be absolutely insane once you reach certain points, because you could get weapons that scale their curse, and then if you have a lot of cursed items, you can use get insane damage with that. There's a lot of cursed enemies now. We have 147 curse. That's not very, very high. In my opinion, at least, right? You know, highest maybe when you get over 200 curse, because if you see the way the curse works here, for example, like enemies about 37.2% chance being cursed and 11.2% chance used to find without like locking stuff with the fish hook. That can be really good eventually once you have everything fully upgraded. Like if you're 100% certain that the stuff you have is good enough. That's insane. 89% pickup range, 2% damage. There's a purple taser though. Okay, let's just get rid of this, boom, get the purple taser, boom. Here's a torch, can we... I would want the torch to become cursed, I really do. I really do, I mean... Yeah, we will see. This might be crazy to do and stuff that, you know, but yeah. But I don't know why there are certain... I mean, I do think that there is nothing that prevents him from getting access to certain weapons or whatever, right, you know. They're probably just being very unlucky. So lifesteal at or lifesteal is okay. I think we actually burn pretty fast right now. It's not elemental damage, so elemental damage is at 34, which is not super high or anything, but still. Our range is at 273, which is decent. But I just feel that added so much. This. Because you have 42% extra damage when you pick up a consumable. For example, that would mean, for example, if we had gotten a bunch of trees in the farms, for example, like if we used to add way more tree spawn, then that would be insanely good. Yes. It's just more gain at the end of the wave, and that's to keep stacking in the 50% XP gain during the next wave. That became cursed for some reason. That's elemental as well. Yes. No Shark dude is not very fun to deal with. We now have more damage though. Because, you know, we can don't attack them for very long range though, that's the thing. That we can keep the wave going more safe instead of being close to them. Here's a Shark. Here's a kill Shark. Did we kill the Shark? I think we did. Yeah. Yeah, we killed everything. Oh, what the fuck is our attack speed? Attack speed is 160k. Well, that's pretty decent. Because this is like very little material that we're still getting and stuff that at this point. First hunting trophy though, 10% attack speed. We managed to get the cursed one, that was nice. Recycle. You know, maybe we can curse the garden. Snail, just get that. And that's a 10% more enemies though. Ooh. Let's lock them. See what happens. You know. Because you know, like, yes, you could just go with all ships, for example, with all cursed ships. Because yes, sure, the slow from this is nice and everything, and this has very little like elemental damage scaling, but you know. But then that also makes it so that I can choose right if you start getting enough of the elemental stuff. So what's our armor? Our armor is only 18 though. Yeah, the bullets are really dangerous, by the way. That's often really what is doing sometimes once we get to one high enough wave. Some of the enemies takes actually a really long time to die here, so you know, we still need more damage. Recycle elemental damage. So the Abyssal was cursed. So get rid of the thing that's not cursed. That's on 11%, so get rid of that. I'm gonna see which one of those ends up becoming the strongest. There's the anchor though. Just gonna combine those. Because it would need to be like, okay, now we have almost one of each now. So that right, even though the icicle isn't that great, you know. Still only 5 out of 6 weapons now. Now we have the farm as well. So that and we did curse the farm. Spawn Gorre, that yeah. Every 8 seconds, which is a big improvement and stuff like that, but yeah. Of course, we also have 1 tree. It's not great. I forgot also how it works when you curse the tree, right? Because doesn't cursing the tree like not even like, you know, make it so that more of them spawn? But I definitely think that one thing they should have done, instead of just being like spawn a garden, blah blah blah, whatever, right? Should have instead like spawn like 2 gardens. Something like that as well, you know. Now we have 176 curse, which is pretty decent. Not gonna lie, but that's pretty decent. Yeah, like I feel like your damage is nothing wrong right now, at least. I think that was used from that little elemental damage we got. Let's get more damage there. Max HP. Yes. 11 max HP. There we go, Ice Cube finally. Lock that door, actually. Okay, this has not gotten upgraded yet. Lock that. Oh man, the potato thrower though. Because that scales with range, that scales with health. I mean, that also becomes better the more health we have. And our health is pretty crazy right now. But is there something that could just permanently like give us like a shit ton of health? Like I'm trying to think like what other things can give us a lot of health. We probably die this way unless we kill them right now. He's almost dead though. We killed any of the bosses yet? I think we have actually. We're not. Maybe we did. Shark dude is still alive. Kill the shark dude. Kill the shark dude, no we didn't. Okay, loot aliens. Yes, jelly is good. We did curse both of them though. Right, so we need to eventually get rid of this ship. Because this ship doesn't seem to be getting upgraded. I think, right, the thing that is giving us max health, right, each wave, right, is the, and this is from critical hit, yes. The thing that's giving us max health is the, like, per wave or whatever it is. Wow, look at how much damage that is doing. I'm only 1. Didn't I get a second spicy sauce now? Yeah, 3% max HP at the end of a wave. Of course, if you, for example, would curse that, for example, right, yeah, things can get insane. Yeah, but now you take like a shit ton of damage if you even get hit and stuff like that. So we either need something that can scale over very quickly, Still, of course, we cannot get more anvils or whatever, right, you know. But imagine it, right, if there was something like a lesser anvil or a weaker style anvil. That may be right, like sure it could still upgrade weapons, but maybe it could only like upgrade weapons up to like rare or whatever, right, to like blue status. Maybe only up to purple or whatever, right, you know. Something, you know. It's harvesting ring is only 11, yeah. But the fact that we, right, so there's only one that's a repeat, and that's of course the Shiv. This will cost not elemental at all. I really support, of course, that will actually increase our harvesting. You know. Yes. You know, that's less max HP. Lifesteal. Just the lightning shiv. We could actually do that and try and combine up the lightning shiv to try to get it. So, ooh, there's. Maybe we want to try and get more of those things cursed. Too bad that it couldn't show you there, like what your max HP per second is currently, what you kind of have, you know. They're almost dead. One down, or a second one down, or whatever, right? Because we killed one before. Good. Absolutely insane. Our health recovery is absolutely insane. We have 301 health as well. So, you know. Our attack speed is 222. Yeah, so more attack speed literally means more health. Yeah, but we need to like gain way more armor and stuff like that, you know. Yes, and that's used. Yes. Ooh, cursed baby elephant. So it gets affected by luck, as you can see. And stuff like that, so 24% chance to deal. But maybe the percentage here that it's showing there is supposed to count into more fins. Okay. No. Ouch. No. Yes. Like that. Like that. But so that is now 49% scaling and 64%. Okay. There's another. I used to cycle that because there is another metal weapon we can get. We can lock that. We can lock this. Oh man, that's the curse spoon though. In that case, we have to start like a potato throw does. Get rid of the icicle, get this, get that. That might be a bad idea. But we have a lot of things that burns. It might have been a bad choice. So we still have the shiv, we still have the torch, we still have the taser. I have a fist, we have a spoon. Yeah, the spoon always keeps when hitting burning targets. Absolutely insane. So yeah, kill the machines. Like, sure, leaving the machines alive sometimes can be really good. main problem though is that we're getting very materials, I feel like, still. Because yes, we haven't gotten a black flag. If we had a black flag here, that would change. Obviously, right, yeah. We do have the treasure map though, which is really important as well. We do have the thing. Right, and now we have 203 there. The duck. Yeah, they have a 40.1% chance to be cursed, but we have a 12% chance for something in the shop to be cursed. Unless we look with fish hook. But we still have one more fish hook we can find also as well. The fact that we still haven't seen the flamethrower, I find to be very strange. Luck is only 77, but I feel like the flamethrower is not that rare of a weapon, really, to be honest. It's just cancel. Okay. Yes. 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 There's another torch. Yeah, I think Spoon was a mistake. Let's get the torch. Yeah, let's get the torch. Yeah, maybe we just... I don't know, man. It's just so weird, like, why haven't we seen the flamethrower and stuff that, you know? Or we used like super unlucky, like, why doesn't it? Sometimes it's just like, sometimes you can just have rounds and then certain weapons just refuse to show up and stuff that, right? And maybe it's just, you know, that it's weighted a bit depending on what character it is, right? Maybe, you know. I'm gonna die this round. Because that thing is getting very annoying, the thing with the arrows. There's no way we survive enough here. But we survive until wave 34, and that gives us the Wheatstone. It's 4% lifesteal with -3 knockback. But yeah, it was pretty decent, but still, you know, it's just, you know, like, yeah, I know that the Flame Brass Knuckles is not good. And we were doing way better when we have said several tasers. And maybe we should have just stick with lightning shifts or tasers, like choosing either one of these. So that, because, you know, I mean, that wasn't that bad, but I knew that we were going to just take eventually so huge damage because we had -1 armor there. We didn't have positive armor there. We lost a bunch of armor there for some reason. Right, we need to do with Entrepreneur. We need to do with Hunter, Artificer. Let's check out here. So Entrepreneur is that guy. So he has 25% minus item price. All same modifications are increased. And you gain more from recycling items. Minus 100% in materials, so that just reduces the items you have. I mean, I'm guessing the things that you leave, I believe, on the ground that you don't pick up get changed. What was it? Hunter and Artificer we need to do as well with. 1+ range, 1+ damage for every 10 range you have. Yeah. Artificer has the explosion though. Explosion damage, explosion stats for every 1 element of damage you have, 100% damage with tool weapons. Yeah, and then minus 100% damage. Modifications are reduced. We have the streamer that we haven't done with yet either. And then we need to do with Yak as well. So it decreases the amount of enemies. Right. But enemies gain more health and more damage. At least what I've done it before. Apprentice is though interesting because that gives you melee damages when you level up. range them and elemental damage and engineering. But you gain 2 minus max health when you level up. So you want something that scales with that quickly. But let's get with Entrepreneur then. So harvesting is good. Want to get harvesting modifications. But always the low damage from the harvesting there. Damage modifications are reduced. And harvesting modifications are increased. This one scales a little bit with harvesting, but it's not enough. Do we do a silly thief dagger run? I think we do. This is really where I feel that the thief dagger can come into a good spot, I feel like, you know. It's called thief dagger, right? Yeah. So you see 50% is, and then it's when you kill an enemy with critical hit. And then having 6 of these equipped just gives you 15% crit chance, but that's not going to be good enough. Also the attack speed also will make you gain stuff faster as well. And it also has some pretty good critical times there. So a 20% chance to actually get a critical chance, like critical hit. It of course counts as a precise weapon. And there are of course more precise weapons you can get and stuff like that, but yeah. So Excellent. Thief dagger. We used to roll aggressively for thief dagger. Man coupon would have been nice though. See, that's the main problem, like sometimes certain things show up very early and stuff that, you know, which are really good. But the first 2 waves, you should always try to get the maximum of 1 item if you're only going for a single item or whatever, right, you know. But then of course, so items are cheaper. But does that affect the weapon price? So that does mean that used regular items, harvesting modifications are increased by 50%. And you gain more from damage modifications are of course reduced. But that of course also probably means that getting the piggy bank will counteract some of that. You know, yeah, you gain way more of that stuff. 5% damage. Thief dagger. Thief dagger. I would love to pick up yellow arrows. Ooh. Blue. Thief dagger. Hey, why not? Yeah, it feels like we're moving so slowly, even though it's only like the default movement speed. So now we have a 30% crit chance. The thing is, you can see when the effect triggers, of course, from the thief dagger specifically, because an icon kind of that looks like the thief dagger will appear, as you see it there a few times. But yeah, and the thing is though that you can see it only gives you 1 material, but once you have this curse, for example, then for example you could gain 2 materials. You might say, oh, but that seems like very little when you get a kill. But then of course, also if you get a bunch of gentle aliens, then that's very powerful. 8% damage, yes. Chance. That can be really good, by the way, when dodging, but we have no dodge so far, but that can be good later. Another thief dagger, we could get some harvesting here because that's actually really cheap at this point. Attack speed, yes. Let's see, here's the thing, I would have wanted to go way more aggressively with the dagger, but now we have some attack speed. We have some extra harvesting, and you see that 8+ harvesting became 12+ harvesting, kinda. Right. That gives you a 56% chance to gain 1 material. So yeah. I would still want to try and aggressively go for the legs if we can. Luck is also going to become important, I feel like, you know. But then you might say, oh, the fact that you're getting a lot of like stuff for your recycling means that you should be recycling stuff very often, you know, and that, you know. Again, and curse it. Just a little bit. We recycle that. Alright, so that means the horse recycling thing becomes better as well. Good luck. Thief Dagger. Now we can get the elephant sheep now, actually. Thief Dagger. Attack Speedo. Yes. Yes. Let's take those. 20% attack speed. This is decent now. Sadly, of course, when you combine stuff, that doesn't count as like recycling stuff and stuff like that, but yeah. One thing to keep in mind that is very important with the recycling machine is, for example, it just makes stuff that you don't pick. Like if you get items via a treasure chest, for example, like those items will also become worth more and stuff that, you know. Okay, so 15 plus luck. Life steal melee damage. You fucking piece of. Take a steal. See, isn't this always so funny when it happens, man? Isn't this always so fucking fun? Yeah, so now we have the flamethrower, and as you can see, the flamethrower scales completely via elemental damage and stuff that. And you can see the damage of this is very, very bad. This damage is really bad. The damage is only 1. Whatever, right? But the damage percentage is going to be really, really important here, as well as the actual, you know, like if you get things that increases elemental damage, and that's make like it only scales like 1% there, as you can see, which is, you know, it might seem like really, really bad, but you know, you will see. Hopefully, I can still, because it's still early, stuff that hopefully we can do the whole. No flamethrower scaling, you know. This might actually be good because of this harvesting bonus that you can receive. Stuff, you know. So we will still get some uses from the Thief Dagger we have. But yeah, see again, like why didn't it show up last run and all the flamethrowers and stuff that. Like, can the flamethrowers only show up early? No, I know I've seen like flamethrowers several times before at high level. So it's Meridian, Lifesteal. Right, so we combine those, boom, boom, get that. Get the duplicate thing. That is way too low. 2 times elemental damage, that's not good enough. I mean, if we get the correct things, then that could be really good, but we really, really want to gain more range. Because yeah, 300 range is not super good on the flamethrower, but you can see that, for example, that's 5 times 3 like extra burning damage, stuff that. And that scales 100% via the thing. So the majority of the damage you did with the flamethrower is actually burning you deal afterwards. This is why we need the scared sausage ASAP. We need the scared sausage. We need a snake. And what else? We need like the frozen heart thing. We need like the elemental kick. We need like the ice cube as early on as possible to be able to, you know, so that every time we take elemental damage it becomes stronger. Stuff that's yeah. The fact that we already have 2 flamethrowers is very, very good, of course. We would, of course, want to have other, you know, stuff. Yeah, because, of course, they could make another flamethrower. The flamethrower already counts as being heavy, though. So, man. Because, right, because, yeah, it looks like this is a twin flamethrower, but this is not what I would count an heavy flamethrower or whatever, right, you know. Elemental damage. Attack speed. This grenade launcher. Oh man. 4 plus HP regeneration. 4 plus melee, 4 plus speed. But enemies become faster next. Okay. That can be scary though. Lock this. Lock that. Yes. Yes, even though that lowers our harvesting. Okay, so we have gotten. So is that 4 on each of these? And like this is not what they are together, so so we got like 8 HP generation from this. And 8 plus melee damage. No. 4% speed. Because the melee damage only shows us being 4. Do we have something that reduces our melee damage? This reduces our melee damage, so yeah, that makes sense then. That the melee damage that reduces only showing up as being 4. So damage percent. Damage percent is 9, okay. Okay, but hey, them moving quick fast is actually very good when we're slower because of the flamethrowers. So we do have pretty decent HP regeneration. 12 is not bad. Because 12 HP regeneration is 1.18 per second, which is not super good, but still, you know. Yeah, the fact that, yeah, this is wave 8 and, you know, we're still doing pretty decent damage. We only have 1 elemental damage though, so it is actually pretty, you know. Yeah, absolutely no problem. Lifesteal, right? Yeah, lifesteal. Yes. Yes. And yeah, that's elemental damage as well. That's just minus dodge. The curse isn't very, very good so far, but still, you know. Eventually, we want to get rid of our lucky, you know, Thief's Dagger, you know. If we get one more of the thing, we could combine one of the Thief's Dagger into a red one. Yeah, the thing is just very, very, very good. What's the clock? Okay, 28. Yeah, clock time. Let's go. There we go, a little bit more curse, nice. Okay, that's great, and elemental damage, nice. Max HP. Elemental damage.